5K, 10K run in her honor. Someone with a personal connection to the tragedy that took Sue's life is Sean Rain, Chief of Ada County Paramedics. It is my pleasure to introduce him and welcome him to the podium. Chief Rain.
Good morning. My name is Sean Rain. I'm the Chief of Ada County Paramedics. Before I share my story, I'd just like to thank B and the WCA for the long partnership that we've had with them, and thank them for the work that they do for people that are victims of domestic violence. So many years ago, my wife and I, we have horses. We have 3 horses, and we enjoy trail riding a lot. And so we, one, I think it was a spring morning, we went out north of Eagle and got on our horses and started riding up the trail there off of Aries Lane, off of Willow Road up north of Eagle. And it was just kind of a memorable morning because on our way out, we actually ran into Butch and Lori Otter. And it was kind of funny because my wife didn't even recognize who we were talking to when we sat there and talked to the governor and the first lady that morning. We rode past them and she said, "Well, those are really nice people." And I said, "That was the governor and the first lady," just kind of funny. So we went and rode up to the canyon and started headed back. And on our way back down the trail, we ran into this couple on horseback, and we sat there and talked to them for probably a good, 10, 15 minutes or so. And it was pretty remarkable. My wife is half African-American, half Japanese. And this couple we were talking to is also a mixed race couple. So, the thought going through my mind are, what are the chances, north of Eagle in Idaho, that you're going to run into 2 couples like that on horseback? Just really stuck in my mind. But so a couple of days later, my wife and I get back and, put the horses in the trailer, take them back. And a couple of days later, we at the paramedics get a call out for our special operations team, which is a rope rescue team. And I remember the page coming out of my pager that said that husband and wife had been out riding their horses, and they were up on the rim of the canyon, and the horse had stepped in a hole and bucked the wife off into the canyon. And I remember thinking at the time when that came out, nobody ever rides their horse right next to that cliff. At least I never did, because I didn't want to end up down in that canyon. But it just seemed strange to me. But the team went out. Unfortunately, it was a body recovery, and it took a long time to get her out, and still didn't have a connection to who it was at that point in time. I didn't realize that it was the person that I had met 2 days before on horseback on that trail. So just in the following days, as the news started to break that, they were suspicious of the husband, I remember the news posting a picture, and at that point I realized that who it was. And I think it was maybe a week after that, I was on our tactical medical team, and we got a call out south of Cuna for a barricaded subject, and it was him. It was her husband. And I remember laying on the berm just south of their house, where we could see into the house, and the SWAT team was up, and they were trying to negotiate with him and get him to come out without harming himself. And laying on that berm, I heard a pop, and I had that happen several times and kind of knew what it was, what had happened. But I remember, as we were waiting to get cleared up to the house, just thinking back to that morning on horseback on a trail north of Eagle, how happy this couple seemed. You couldn't tell anything was going on with them. They seemed happy. My wife and I were happy, and we parted ways. But I think the key is that, we don't know what happens in people's lives. We really don't have a lot of insight, and it takes a lot of courage for people to stand up and say something. But, I think that the key is if you see something, say something. That's we have to work together to put an end to domestic violence. But I just thought I'd share my story. It wasn't until actually B had asked me to speak at the WCA meeting that we had at St. Al's, and I'll tell you the truth. I had a speech written up, and when I walked in, it wasn't until then that I even knew that it was Sue B. And I changed my speech. I don't have this written down here. It's just a story that's in my head, but I changed it, and um, I got through this one a lot easier. That first time I was pretty choked up the whole time, but just so if you see something, say something, and just realize that we really don't know what is going on in people's lives, even when we're close to people. So with that, thank you all for letting me tell my story.
Thank you so much for your willingness to share, Chief Rain. We appreciate the partnership we have with Ada County paramedics and with all of our first responders. To all of you who have joined us here today, for all of you taking time to watch, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook, to stand in solidarity with victims and survivors of domestic abuse in communities across Ada County, it makes quite a statement. We really appreciate the solidarity, and we know that we live in a very special place. That's evidenced by our gathering here. I am humbled and grateful every day for the shared sense of responsibility and the caring that I feel from everybody that is here and everybody that is watching. From all of those engaged in working daily to care for victims of domestic abuse and violence. Through the leadership that we have, leaders who are willing to stand up and recognize that there is a problem and to start conversations, that gives me hope that we can make a difference. However, I think it's also important to recognize that we all have a part to play. This is only going to remain a special place if we are all vigilant in our efforts to continue working together, respecting the partnerships that we have and nurturing them for an even better tomorrow. It does start with each one of us, and it can start today and continue on. At this point, I would really welcome any questions or comments from audience members. We do have a roving mic if anybody has a question or would like to add some thoughts. Chris? Any questions or comments anybody would like to share? Mayor Steer?
Yeah, I just one point that was hit on earlier, and I think is very important, is that we don't have that. Why don't you just leave thoughts in our head because we know that's just not possible sometimes, and I appreciate that in your story you told how dangerous that makes it for the families. So one thing I can tell you is every year when I come here, I learn something new by listening to these stories. And as hard as it is to listen to the tragedy, I think we all learn from it. So I just appreciate that very much. And thank you for your story. It was very well done. So
Thank you, Mayor Steer. Well, if we don't have any more speakers or questions, we have opportunities for some photo ops up here. We have several lovely ladies that are holding on to them, given the breeze. We haven't quite figured out how to secure these yet, and the breeze always seems to come up right as we start. So, all right, Chris, anything else? Okay. Yeah, if the mayors would come up and nice to see you. Thank you for being here, Commissioner. Yep. Thank you. Thank you so much. We love a signature. I'll give you a pen.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, never mind. You beat me to it. Should we lift it up?
That's right, yeah.
Thank you so much.
There you go. We passed a resolution yesterday too, or proclamation. Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
good proclamation.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good.
It is. It becomes a sale. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.